So welcome to the full moon in Aries lunar manifestation harvest ceremony. So the full moon is the time in the lunar calendar where we note our manifestations that have arisen in the last 2 weeks since we planted them in the new moon cycle that goes with this current 28 to 30 day cycle. And when we reflect on our 6 month period that we've had from the Aries new moon. So you'll want to check your calendar and check that when the Aries new moon was in your space. And the best way to do that is I always recommend to, if you have been doing your monthly planning, your new moon and full moon planning guide, that is a great place to go and look, because then you can actually go and look like what intentions you planted and you can see what has come from them. So I know for me personally, 6 months ago, we had just moved overseas to Africa, and I had put into the vortex or put into my my co-creation plan with the universe that I wanted to take as many trips within the country that we're in as possible, and as many trips on the continent as possible. And then, of course, because we're in Africa, we wanted to do a safari and go see all of the animals. And I'm actually literally just back. I just pulled in the door from a safari in Zambia, and it was incredible. And I mean, I don't want to be bombastic and braggadocious, but I want this story that I'm about to tell to hopefully inspire you to know that if you can write something down on a piece of paper, it can manifest in your reality in as little as 6 months, if not sooner. So yeah, if you are writing your manifestations on your Foursquare, this is a great place to go and check what little micro things have happened in the last 2 weeks, or what macro things, so the big things, have manifested in 6 months. And if you're new to this space and you haven't been doing the planner, what I suggest you do is go back 6 months from now, check the date of the Aries new moon. So you can do that by downloading an app. I like the one called The Moon, and you could go and check what phase the moon was in on any given day, and you could go back 6 months and find the Aries new moon. You could also go to the resource section on Golden Otter Divinations in the members area under Lunar Almanacs. You can go and check that date. Pretty much all you need to do is find the new moon in Aries that was 6 months ago and go through and start seeing what your desires were in that time. So check your messages, your Instagram messages, your Facebook messages, your text messages, your emails, letters. Maybe if you have like a pile of mail, this would be a good time to go through that and see what can be let go of. Like, I know sometimes like there are longer things that happen that, like, oh, I filed this document and it might take a little bit for the universe to catch up with it. Because as much as we want things to happen in an instant, and maybe they do happen in an instant for us, like we fill out the form and we let it go and it's like, okay, this is gonna go my way. Sometimes it can take, the people processing that paperwork 6 months to come back to us. I know when I was doing my trademarking for all things Golden Otter, it was a very similar situation where in my soul, in my essence, in my being, I was like, oh, this is going to happen in an instant. And I even went to the trademark, the USPTO, which is in Washington. Well, it's in Alexandria, Virginia, but we were living in D.C., Washington, D.C. at the time, and it was right across the river. And I'm a teacher and a history buff, so I was like, I've got to go. So I actually went to file my paperwork in person, which is like absolutely unnecessary. They have a very efficient online program. But I went in person to do a record search just to make sure the term Golden Otter, wasn't already taken, because they say that once something is in the zeitgeist, meaning once it's in the collective unconscious, it'll only be a matter of time before it's in the collective conscious and everybody's talking about it. So in my heart I knew, and in my soul I knew, Golden Otter Divinations was my company name, and I received so many inklings for it to be that. Even when I was at the USPTO, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and a patent librarian was there helping me search the records, because before I paid all the money and did all the, all the legwork, I wanted to make sure that it was actually going to go through and it wouldn't be an in-vain process. And she's looking up the name. She goes, oh, Golden Otter, that's so interesting. Like, what's it for? And I said, oh, it's for a metaphysical, actually, I think I used to say it's for a health and wellness company. We'll get to the metaphysical part in a second. And I said, oh, it's for a company. It's for a health and wellness business that I'm starting. And she goes, oh, that's so funny. And I go, why is that? And she goes, because an otter is my spirit animal. And I was just like, oh, that's so cool. Like here, I didn't want to expose myself in the middle of the USPTO building, be like, oh my gosh, it's my spirit animal too. And just like lose my mind. I just was like, oh my gosh, I took that as a sign that no matter how long it took for the process of the paperwork to be filed and all that, I knew in my soul it was going to happen. And it did. About 6 months later, it became an eventuality. There were a few more hoops I had to jump through, but I was happy to do that because I knew, I just had a knowing that it was going to manifest for me. And so that is the point of today, this Aries full moon energy. So Aries is a really, like we said, bombastic, braggadocious, in your face energy. Sometimes you'll see folks on social media who are just killing the game, as they say, really loud and vibrant, personal, branded identities. And more often than not, they tend to be Aries because Aries are really comfortable shouting things from the rooftop and just putting it all out there come what may, which is something as a pretty reserved Capricorn I tend to admire. And so if you're an Aries out there, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're not an Aries, we can channel that energy because this month's ritual is really amazing at letting us use the universal energy of the Aries to shout our accomplishments from the rooftop. And all we have to do is get into receiving mode. So I'm going to tell you, we'll do the ritual really quick. I'll read you the preamble, I guess. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this amazing safari that I just had. Once again, just to speak into existence what God, Source, Infinite Intelligence does for one, it can and will do for all and will do for many. It's just a matter of believing in your own essence that what you are speaking into existence will happen. And then I'm going to read a little surrender thing that has also popped up into my reality in the last little bit that I think will really be of service. Okay, here we go. So Aries full moon, simply more, an experiment in energetics balancing. How often do you pencil white space into your life to allow yourself to organically co-create metaphysically or physically? Bold, brash, and bombastic is the modus operandi of the very big Aries personality. With the full moon lighting up this sign, there's no hiding it for the next 2 weeks. If you're not one to toot your own horn or shout your accomplishments from the rooftop, then this is your time to shine with a helping hand from the cosmos. 2 weeks ago, during the new moon cycle, we began releasing control of outcomes, hard deadlines, and must-dos or must-be's that by trusting that the universe always has our back. With the new moon in boastful and strong-willed Aries, it's time to manifest more by living simply, speaking swiftly, and owning the things that we love about ourselves, our lives, and the ones we love. So, with love, light, and a shower of positive, specific praise, this is me and the universe giving you permission, if that's what you feel you need, to ask for anything your heart desires because it can and will happen. If you've been in this space for a minute, you've probably heard me tell the story of how in under 6 months, my spouse and I manifested a move to an overseas location that we're over the moon about it. We couldn't be more happy about. But it really was a series of trusting our gut and following our intuition and listening to the little subtle signs because all rational thought would say, what are you guys doing? And even a lot of our friends and family were like, are you sure about this? But when we get a ping, when we get an intuitive hit, we just know and we follow it. And moving to Africa had kind of been in a seed in our heart maybe, but not necessarily ever a reality. We knew we'd go back overseas, but we thought it'd be on the South American continent. But we could never pin down where exactly we wanted. And that's just one of those things that when you live your life at a certain vibration, the universe will just match it with the exact perfect people, places, and circumstances to bring you to the level of just bliss and enjoyment. If you're saying this is the level that I want of like happiness and joy, and this is what I'm willing to sustain, because staying happy is like, it's an inner game. It's, you know, it's an inside job, as they say, because you do have to constantly say like, is this what I want? Am I happy here? Yes, I am. I want to keep going, and not kind of have like a slingshot action of like regression where you get to where you want to go and then go, wait, is this actually what I wanted? Oh no, I need to clean up my vibration. So long story short, we decided to move in under 6 months. And now we've been here for about 6 months, and it takes a minute to get established, especially in an overseas move. Now, if you happen to just want to go on an amazing vacation, you could probably manifest that a bit quicker than an international move. But we just got back from the most incredible safari. Woke up in the morning and there were elephants and giraffes and just like every animal that you can imagine, lions and leopards, everything right there. And they would come right up to our safari camp. And the reason this is just such perfect energy with the Aries full moon is we were there. The trip culminated with the Aries full moon at 11:22 is when it showed up in our time-space reality. It's going to show up at a different time in your time-space reality, but always be aware of that. The times that wherever you are, and when I say your time-space reality, I mean like, where are you geographically located that the moon will show up in its fullest? And it'll say that on an app where you can check on the Lunar Manifestations members guide. I've got that all in there so you can actually check, so that if you want to tune in at that exact moment, you can, you know, it's just kind of fun. It's just kind of like a fun universal moment for you to have. Here's the thing about this safari. This was a dream trip that I probably would have tried to wrestle into form, being me, even as much as I'm like one with the universe. I would have wrestled it into form. I would have said like, okay, we've got to pack all these things, and we have to, you know, find this type of accommodations at this type of price with these type of people. And I would have gotten really, really specific about it. But I've been so focused on something else that I wanted to manifest, which is this little thing called Unicorn Club, which is an organic cooking club and holistic living club for my daughters and their friends. We get together once a week and we do Playful Pegasus, and then the what are our groups? Prancing Ponies meet, and then Playful Pegasus, and then Active Alicorns. It's 3 little groups because, as my little one described to me, Prancing Ponies are actually I'll grab a pony. My oldest, this is funny, this one's just in here. My oldest, when she was little, knew all of the names to all of My Little Ponies. When she was like 18 months, she could tell me exactly who they were and what all their skills were, and she remembered them. And I was always so impressed. I was like, oh, this kid's gonna like have a memory of gold. I couldn't even remember them. And so ponies are wannabe unicorns that are waiting for their horns. And then Pegasus are ponies that have their wings but no horn. And an alicorn has their wings and their horn. Okay, so for the last couple of weeks, my attention has been very much focused on, you know, coming up with recipes and doing fun things for the kids. And it's something that I enjoy. So I hadn't really thought much about this safari and this trip, which, like, you know, getting visas and car insurance and, you know, international travel, like driving within a continent that I'm not from, like, you know, crossing international borders, African international borders, like all of these things that would normally stir up so much like angst and worry and confusion in me. And like, oh, should we do this? Should we do this? I just really didn't have the time. And we were actually invited on this trip by some friends who wanted to go, but the price, it was some weird math situation where if only one family went, the price was double. But if 2 families went, the price was half. I don't know. It was total universal vortex math where I was like, wait, what is the cost? Yes, we will go. And everybody says around here that this is like the safari to go on. So, okay, getting to the point. So I was so engaged in something that brought me so much joy that while I was funneling my positive, specific energy onto something exciting, Source was getting everything else ready that I had already planted these seeds for. Because 6 months ago, I really consciously wrote in the Aries New Moon, I want to go on a safari. I want to do, you know, we want to see elephants and lions and leopards and what else? Rhinos and hippos, the other things, all of the African things. You know, we had it in our list. Giraffes. And here I am, so busy with Unicorn Club that boom, the perfect safari manifest. The accommodations were incredible. Usually they don't allow children under a certain age, but because some other folks had canceled and it was a last minute booking, we got all of the benefits. And it's just to go to show that you can't wrestle these things into form, and sometimes you really do have to just like create this white space and like live your life, and the universe will conspire. I mean, a simple piece of paper, I mean, there's nothing fancy here. If you use the ones that I created, those are pretty too, but like this is all it takes to make your dreams come true. And I say it, it's just one of those things that like once you start living it and you start feeling your way into that, like you can't argue with it. And so I am just wishing for all of you watching right now, and anybody's gonna, you know, be here at a later time, that you have this experience because it's for you. And then the other thing I wanted to say before I close this out, because this month, if you have a minute, go and make sure you do the Aries full moon ritual, because this month is about letting the universe shout our accolades, especially if we don't have a typical Aries big bold personality. The universe is going to have our back and help us like step more authentically into. In the last couple of months, we've been stepping more authentically into our soul self and letting what's on the inside be what people see on the outside as well. And Aries is the energy that's going to help you do it. And then one other thing, I'm going to read this. This is my own personal statement of surrender. But I hope that it can serve you, because I know that surrendering can be really hard for me, even when I see the proof right in front of my face. So you can listen to this, and then if you'd like, I would love to offer you the opportunity to record this to music. So if you are seeing this, send me your statement, and I will coordinate with another amazing healer that I know to get it recorded over some really beautiful music so that you can then hear it back. So if this one is one that you would like me to send you with my voice, let me know. Reach out to me in all the different ways that you can, email or on Instagram or via this platform, and I will send you that recording of me doing it. And if you're interested in creating your own statement of surrender or whatever it is that you want to manifest, I will put you in contact with another healer who can help you do that, because this is good stuff. Okay, surrender. I trust that if I surrender my control over the small details of my life, that Source will send the exact perfect people at the exact perfect time with the exact perfect skills to assist me in making all of my dreams come true in a more beautiful and perfect way than I ever could have imagined. Under grace by divine right, I am. Okay, so if you would like that statement with the audio, just send me a message, respond to your emails that you get. You guys know how to reach me by now, I hope. And I will send you a recording of me saying it with music behind it, or I'll direct you how to get your own. Okay, so happy new moon in Aries. I hope you have a bombastic time. With love and light, Autumn.